Friends, namaskar, good afternoon, and welcome to this weekly briefing. I have an update which is on COVID-19 and the efforts which we have taken in the last few weeks on this matter. You must have seen our statement which we issued yesterday and today regarding the arrival of two special flights today morning. One came from Wuhan and the other came from Japan, evacuating our nationals. In total, we brought back 195 Indian nationals and 41 foreign nationals. And if we include the two flights which we had used earlier from Wuhan, it takes the total number of Indians which we evacuated to 842 and the foreign nationals to 48. 2 points I would like to highlight before I just give you a little bit of details about the entire evacuation process. The first is our willingness to accommodate nationals from other countries in the evacuation process in the spirit of neighborhood first and our own friendly relations with countries. And the second was our demonstration that if the Indian diaspora internationals are in trouble abroad, MEA will do its best to get them back home. I'll just give a little bit of details about the two processes. On the Indian nationals evacuation from on board Diamond Princess, you are aware that there were 138 Indian nationals, 6 passengers and 132 crew members who were on board. Out of these, 16 had tested positive, and at this point of time, they are in hospitals in Japan, undergoing treatments at various hospitals. Of the remaining 122, 119 Indian nationals were brought back to India, along with 5 foreign nationals. And if I could give the breakup of the 5 foreign nationals, 2 Sri Lankans, 1 from Nepal, and 1 each from Peru and South Africa. 3 Indian crew members did not board the special flight, and they chose to remain on board the ship to complete the period of extended quarantine. All the evacuees will undergo a 14-day quarantine at the facility set up by the Indian Army in Manesar as per the health protocol. We take this opportunity to express our appreciation to the government of Japan for this facilitation. On the evacuation from Wuhan, this was through an Indian Air Force special flight. It landed yesterday with a package of relief supplies, which we had put together, as a matter of our support. The total weight was 15 tons, which is 15,000 kilos. The items which we sent to China are gloves, surgical masks, feeding and infusion bulbs, defibrillators, based on the requirement which were indicated to us by the Chinese side. After the flight landed yesterday at Wuhan, passengers, Indian nationals as well as foreigners, they boarded the flight, and the flight departed last night with 76 Indian nationals and 36 foreign nationals, including some from our neighboring countries who had sought assistance. The foreign nationals included 23 from Bangladesh, 6 from China, 2 each from Myanmar and Maldives, and 1 each from South Africa, US, and Madagascar. From China, a total of 3 flights have been organized, and we have brought back 723 Indian nationals and 43 foreign nationals. So this was an update. I would now open the floor to questions. Siddhant and Reza.
Sir, regarding the virus crisis, we have seen from Iran the crisis is erupting. The Indian mission there has also advised the students there. So are we planning some measures when it comes to Iran, when it comes to people coming here, screening them? Also, sir, planning to evacuate people from Iran. Is this also on the agenda? And second question, the president of Myanmar was here he is here in India. He spoke to the Indian Prime Minister. Was the Rohingya issue discussed?
Siddhant, on Iran, you are aware that there has been an uptick in the number of related cases? Okay, yeah. Reza?
The universities have closed down and they had made arrangements to come back. Is anything being done to kind of look after them over there, or you know?
Okay.
Sir, we've talked about Iran, but what about Italy, where hundreds have been diagnosed with the virus, apparently, according to reports. So now this is the heart of Europe. Now, are we screening passengers from Europe as well? What are we doing about it? And what about the tourists who are going to Europe? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Hi,
please.
hi, Ravish. I have a question on a slightly different topic. The Indian government obviously put a lot of preparations into the Trump visit, and security was increased in the capital. Did the Trump visit, which took up these resources, impact the way that the riots in Northeast Delhi were handled? Were police sort of focused on the Trump visit? If you could comment
Thank you.
on that.
Okay, I was taking the questions on COVID-19, but I'll take that question as well.
Small question on COVID. Today we saw that the list of the foreign national also includes a reference about a Chinese national. Can you please elaborate on that?
You see, I think first let me share with you, and I'm sure you are all aware that an advisory was issued by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, where they asked Indian nationals to refrain from traveling to these three countries, Iran, Italy, and South Korea. The advisory also mentioned that on their arrival in India, they may be subject to a quarantine process. I think this is as per the health protocol which they have worked out. On the situation in Iran, our embassy is very closely monitoring the situation. They have also put out a helpline, 24/7 helpline. They are now in the process of contacting the students individually. At this point of time, as we have done in the case of Wuhan, as also in Japan, we basically will closely monitor the situation. Just take stock. Important thing is not to create a sense of panic among the students, among the people who are there. If we realize that a certain step has to be taken, it will be taken. You have seen that. We have done that in Wuhan. You have seen us taking steps in Japan through a special aircraft. So we are looking at the situation, how it evolves, whether it requires a certain step which needs to be taken by the government. And based on our assessment of the mission, the steps will be taken. The same is applicable to the Indian students as well. We are aware about the difficulties being faced by them. Whenever there is such a situation develops, it's a complex situation, because the movement gets affected as well. So we are monitoring at this stage. If there is any further update to this, we will of course keep you all posted. On Italy, you see, Italy again happens to be one of the countries which is included in the advisory, and that was done because there was a sudden upsurge in the number of cases from that country. As I mentioned, that people who are coming back, they may be subject to a quarantine process. So that is what we have. Please understand that the situation, the COVID-19 situation, is being monitored on a very regular basis at a fairly high level in the government of India, where you have people from different departments. MEA is also part of that. And a certain coordination mechanism is in place, which takes all the decisions in respect of people who are already here, as well as people who are coming back from abroad into India. It's an unrelated question, what you asked. See, frankly, yeah, Pranay, I'm answering your question. You see, we had mentioned that at that time, when we opened up the flight, we did say that, look, we are opening our flight to people from neighboring countries, and those who are interested, and subject to space availability, and also fulfilling certain other conditions. I mean, there could be other conditions as well. For example, there could be a condition about the immigration, about the clearance from their own government. So if those conditions are fulfilled, and the people who came today, they fulfill those conditions, and we were happy to accommodate them. No, that's what I'm saying. I think if they decided to come and they wanted to avail of this flight, and the facilitation was provided by the Chinese government, we were happy to take them on board and bring them here. No, no, I think that is different. I think we are no, we are confusing. I think basically the family you're talking about is from the Diamond Princess cruise ship. When I mentioned that there is a Peruvian who has also been brought in, he happens to be the spouse of the Indian national, from that cruise. Yes, no, I think let me answer. Myanmar. You see, yes, you have seen the details of the MOUs which have been signed. There is a joint statement which is in works. I have a copy. I think it is going to be put on the website. It is fairly detailed joint statement, and I can tell you that if you look at the number of MOUs signed, there are at least 4 to 5 MOUs which are actually relating to socio-economic development in that part of Myanmar, the socio-economic development of the Rakhine state. And so there was a lot of focus on how India could support the socio-economic development of that part of that region of Myanmar. And but the details of the discussion, etc., I think they will be released around 6 o'clock, and that you can take a look at. No, let me answer his question. You see, frankly, what led to this and why this happened, I think this, of course, will be a matter of investigation. I think what is important to note here is that the law enforcement agencies now, they are working on the ground. They are working to bring the situation back to normal. In fact, before I left, I was watching television and I heard the statements from the law enforcement agencies that the situation is fast returning to normal. They are trying to ensure normalcy. They are trying to restore confidence. You are also aware that the senior representatives of the government, they are engaged in this process. Prime Minister himself, he has publicly appealed for peace and brotherhood. In this context, I would also like to refer to some of the statements which have come out, by agencies, by individuals, and we would urge that this sensitive time, it is not the right time to make such irresponsible comments because it can actually create more problems than it would solve. Madhurendra?
सर, दिल्ली में हुए हिंसा को लेकर जिस तरह से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सुर्खियां बनी हैं और जिस तरह से तमाम एजेंसियां, चाहे यूएनएचआर की बात करें या यूएस सीनेट की बात करें या ओआईसी के स्टेटमेंट की बात करें, उसने इस घटना पर अपने अपने हम कहें कि वक्तव्य रखे हैं। भारत सरकार कितनी उससे सहमत है और किस तरह से उसको आप रिफ्यूट कर सकते हैं?
मधुरेंद्र, जो हमारा स्टेटमेंट था, जो हमारा रिएक्शन था, वो हमने दे दिया है और हमने कहा है कि जो USCIRF का स्टेटमेंट है, और उसमें OIC भी कह सकते हैं, उनका भी, जो कुछ सेक्शन ऑफ द मीडिया है, कुछ इंडिविजुअल्स हैं, तो हमने उनका स्टेटमेंट हमने देखा है। और ये मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि जो स्टेटमेंट है वो फैक्चुअली इनएक्यूरेट है, तथ्य पर आधारित नहीं है और मिसलीडिंग भी है, और हमें लगता है कि ये उस मामले को पॉलिटिसाइज करने की ये कोशिश की जा रही है। जैसा मैंने बताया अभी कि जो हमारे लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट एजेंसीज़ हैं वो ज़मीन पर हैं, ज़मीन से जुड़े हुए हैं इस समय, और कोशिश ये कर रहे हैं कि कितनी जल्दी सिचुएशन को नॉर्मल किया जा सके और कितनी जल्दी जो कॉन्फिडेंस है लोगों का उसको रिस्टोर किया जा सके। आपको ये भी पता है कि जो हमारे गवर्नमेंट में सीनियर ऑफिशियल्स हैं वो भी इस प्रोसेस से जुड़े हुए हैं। प्रधानमंत्री ने पब्लिकली अपील किया है शांति और अमन कायम रखने के लिए, और इसीलिए हमारी ये गुजारिश है इस समय इस टाइप के इरेस्पॉन्सिबल कमेंट्स इस ऐसे सेंसिटिव टाइम में अगर न दिए जाएं तो उचित होगा। Yes, yes, it does.
Sir, in your response to what has been said by CRF, you also mentioned about a few individuals. So are you referring to US presidential nominee Bernie Sanders and several other US lawmakers? Can you just clarify?
No, Manas, you have been following the foreign ministry for a long time. As a spokesperson of the foreign ministry, when I say media and individuals, you do understand who I'm referring to. Smita?
Just to follow up on the question on OIC, if you could also give a specific reaction, because they have used pretty strong words in the statement, saying it's a alarming violence against Muslims. And on hindsight, given the fact when the late Mrs. Sushma Swaraj actually attended the OIC meeting, it was projected as if the OIC's perception of India had changed, the equations perhaps had changed. Is there sort of a rethink on what really changed with that, India sort of signing up for that OIC meet?
No, Smita, the reply does not change much. I did mention that the statements, again, which has come out from OIC, they are factually inaccurate, they are selective, they are misleading. And as I mentioned that there is an effort on the ground to restore normalcy, to create confidence. And we again urge these bodies at this point of time not to indulge in irresponsible statements at this sensitive time. No, you see, in the past as well, Smita, I think whenever they have made a statement which has, where they have commented on internal affairs of India, we have responded strongly. And this time too, if a statement is being made on such matter where we feel strongly about, I think we will do something similar. Geeta?
Going back to, I know you've already responded to the Bernie Sanders statement, but my question is with regards to Bernie Sanders' statement and BJP General Secretary alluding to being compelled to interfere in US elections. How does the Ministry of External Affairs look at such serious comments coming from within India?
Geeta, look, I can't really comment on individual statements. You know that India-US relationship, it enjoys a bipartisan support. You do know that we deal between country to country, and at this point of time, we are out of a very successful President Trump's visit. So this is what I have to say. Kalol?
So the INB minister today said that the security situation has been deteriorating over the last 2 months. So in this context, as the US president came to town, did you take this deteriorating security scenario in consideration, and how did you ensure the overall security?
No, I mean,
scenario
you saw the visit for yourself. I think you saw the visit in Ahmedabad, you saw the visit, the way it was conducted in Delhi. And it was conducted very smoothly right from the time he landed at Delhi airport till he departed. So frankly, I am not able to understand what you're referring to. Yes, please.
Can you please clarify why coronavirus? Can you please clarify why Indian government decided to bring nationals of other country to India?
No, this is not the first time we have done it.
From Japan and China.
Yeah, in the past as well, if you remember, that we have offered that subject to space availability, and if we receive requests from other countries, we should be able to accommodate them on board.
In this case, you have received the request?
Of course, you can't ask them to come, a request has to come from them. Prime Minister did mention, we have mentioned in the past that this is in the spirit of neighborhood first, and also in the spirit of, brotherhood with other countries, other friendly countries. So we got a request, we had space, and we were very happy to kind of take them on board and bring them back to India. Good, I don't see any other hand. This country.
Sir, what about the, was there any request from any Pakistani student or national to be accommodated on the flight? What was this, if so, what is the
Look, I
status?
think I can tell you that this offer was open to everybody. But the fact that there are no Pakistani students on the flight, and I did mention that there were certain requirements to be fulfilled. So those requirements were not fulfilled. But the fact that there are no Pakistani students, it confirms the fact that somehow it didn't work out. Good. This concludes the weekly briefing. Thank you all for joining.